Hello everyone and welcome back to part 3 of the Mega Man 2 Let's Play. And we are starting the Dr. Wily stages, the final 4 stages of the game. And these stages are pretty, they kind of culminate everything in the game. They have a lot of enemies from the previous stages, and they kind of test your skills. They are probably the hardest levels of the game, although they are kind of short. There's 4 of them in a row, and then the final boss rush and the final boss. And, yeah. These stages require you to use, some of your weapons, like, right there we saw you can't get up there without, one of the items. Item 3 I used. And, further on, I'll need to use item 1, and then item 2, and I'll need to use item 3 again in a later level, but... Oh yeah, and you also need to use your crash bombs on a specific boss. There's no way to hurt it without crash bombs, and the final boss can only be hurt with bubble lead. But we'll see that when we get to it. So yeah, this first stage isn't too hard. You gotta use your item 3 at the beginning, or item 1. But I saved item 1 because, well, I guess we can use it right here, and we also need to use it on the one further boss up ahead. But we just climbed this tower, and we're already at the boss in a minute and a half. So that's kind of shorter than some of the other stages. This boss coming up is weak to the quick boomerang, and it starts with you just jumping across some blocks, and then going up to some single blocks, and then eventually they just start auto-scrolling around here, and a dragon pops up, and this dragon is pretty well known. It's become a pretty, famous enemy. This game's probably the most well-known Mega Man game, and this boss is pretty iconic, so only makes sense. But if you just stand on that top platform, even if his fire hits you, you'll be knocked off onto the middle one, and you can use your invincibility to hop back up there. So just keep hitting him with the quick boomerangs, and he'll go down easy as pie. And you're already done with the first Mega Man 2 Dr. Wily stage. Love that song. But anyway, now to Wily Part 2. And in Wily Stage 2, at the beginning, these the helicopter beanie guys from Crash Man stage come back in all their pogo stick glory. And we're gonna need item 2 to cross this pit of spikes. Make sure they don't hit you and knock you off. That would be no good. But just avoid that ladder and hop up to the second ladder if you have enough energy, if you didn't waste the energy already. And you'll find an extra life, a ton of weapon energy, and the opportunity to grab another extra life and another E-Tank. I believe I have max E-Tank, so it doesn't matter anyway. But the reason I don't go for that extra life is because I need to save those crash bombs, and I'll explain why up ahead, but it's the return of the annoying drills from Metal Man stage, and this is the last we'll see of them until Mega Man 10, which is a long way away. Like, 8 more adventures for this little guy. And it's not until the last stage, too. So, yeah, they didn't really bring them back at all, except for that one part. And you need to use your item 3 to get up there. Or you could probably use your item 1 as well. It's kind of tricky to stand between those two crusher things without getting hurt. So, just drop down here, avoid the spikes, and stand right there. And I grab a large energy pellet as we face the second boss of Wily Castle. And that was a pretty short stage as well. I recommend using the metal blades on this boss because it is, it's like a living room. Two blocks come out of the sides and, kind of attach themselves together to create one thing that flies at you. And I just noticed right there when you pause, it doesn't render the blocks disappearing. So that's kind of nifty. I never noticed that before. The things do kind of a lot of damage, so you gotta watch out for that. I have to use an E-Tank. And if you just use your metal blades, it's kind of simple to hit them because You can aim in all 8 directions. And yeah, that's the second boss. They kind of bring back that exact same boss motif in the Block Devil for Mega Man 10, but once again, we won't get there for a long time. So now we're already on the third Wily stage. I always thought of this as kind of the sewer, or like waste elimination part of Wily's stage, because there is seems to be some dirty, polluted water down under here with a lot of spikes. Maybe Wily's like sewer system. I don't know. It's pretty might be pretty gross in there, Mega Man. Might smell pretty bad. But actually, I have two really embarrassing deaths coming up. I can't believe it. I don't think I've ever died on this part before. The spike thing is pretty easy. And yeah, derp, death count 3, and this is just horrifying. My next attempt was just a double derp. I can't believe I did that, and finally, I do it. I feel so bad about that. I was thinking about editing that out and just pretending like it didn't happen, but I had to stay true to the commentary. And yeah, but that is my final death, ladies and gentlemen. My final death for Mega Man 2. I usually only die 1 or 2 times, if at all. And that was quite the embarrassing duo of deaths, but yeah, I died 4 times in this playthrough. And now we come to the third boss already, and it is the Guts Dozer, a throwback to Gutsman from Mega Man 1, except turned into a bulldozer, or a, not bulldozer, but giant tank. It's called the Guts Dozer. But once again, Quick Boomerang is this boss's weakness, and you just jump up and hit him with the face, and he goes down pretty easily. And we are already at the final platforming level of the Wily Castle. And it is kind of not really that challenging, but it can be challenging to first-timers. And we have 2 large capsules that you can use to fill up your weapon energy right off the bat. I fill up the Metal Blades and item 3. I don't know why I filled up item 3, I guess just because it was the lowest on energy, but we will never need them again. They got that Metool. And right up here we'll see the usefulness of one of the only uses for the Bubble Lead, one of kind of 2. It kind of performs the same role as the Holy Water in Castlevania, except the Bubble Lead travels along the ground and falls down that hole so you can see where the invisible blocks are. And that part was, if you fall down the invisible blocks you won't die, but of course on this part you'll fall with spikes if you fall down that thing right there. So just watch out for that. And there's some Metool, invisible block to get that E-Tank. But you can still go get it, but I believe I have, oh no, I might only have 3 E-Tanks, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the game isn't too challenging, and I probably won't even need all 3, although... Do I use all 3? I'm gonna have 1 left at the end of this playthrough. Although, I'll see if I'm wrong. But this part brings back the platform on tracks from Crashman stage, along with the annoying spinning guys, but those were in other stages as well. And yeah, just jump on the platform, and it's not too hard to figure out, but you'll need to use the Metal Blades or something, or drop down, or I don't know. I always just use the Metal Blades at that part because you need to hang on for a bit too long, and before the platform comes under you, and you don't want to get knocked off. So yeah. This game's soundtrack is fantastic. Although you probably already know that. Unless you're seeing Mega Man 2 for the first time, all one of you who live in this world. Although, I mean, some of the Amazing Wonder Team members don't appreciate the classics. And I can't believe that. I mean, Mega Man 2 has one of the best soundtracks of any video game ever, and there's really no denying it. Like, come on, like, if you've ever really listened to Mega Man 2 soundtrack, you know it's one of the best of all time. Like, it's right up there with, like, Ocarina of Time in terms of soundtrack quality. Yeah, I only have 3 things, but... now, here comes the Crash Bomber boss, which is probably the biggest beginner trap, or should have jumped off there, but biggest like beginner trap of the game. If you get all the way here, and if you don't have that Crash Bomber bar filled, you're done for. You can't progress unless you die and farm for Crash Bomb energy, and you're gonna need to use every single one of your Crash Bombs here, or else you're done for. Kinda lame, and it's a pretty poorly designed boss in my opinion. Really the only kind of cheap thing in this whole game. Yeah, if you run out of Crash Bombs, there's no way to fight this boss, and I believe in Mega Man 4, the final boss, you need the, you can only take it out with Pharaoh Man's weapon. But in that game, you like, didn't have to, use the full bar of energy of Pharaoh Man's weapon on him. And you could still beat him, and also when you died, it was extremely easy to farm for weapon energy. In this level, it's not so easy. In fact, it's extremely difficult. I've had to do it a couple times when playing through this game, just because I was being dumb. But, yeah, the Crash Bomber boss, it's no good. And probably the only really cheap thing about this game, but I still love this game. And now we are on the first proper boss rush of the series, and what I mean by first proper is that in Mega Man 1, and they even did this in Mega Man X1, but you fought the 6 in Mega Man 1, you fought all the Robot Masters throughout the castle, so like in Wily Stage 2, I believe, you fight Cutman and Electman, and then later on in the Wily stages, you fight the other 4 in like rapid succession, and they don't drop any health items when you beat them, and so you're forced to fight them in a special order, or the order dictated by the game. But in Mega Man 2, they added teleporting hatches, so if you knew where the bosses were, you could beat them in any order you wanted, and after you beat them, they drop a large health power-up. So that is extremely helpful. And you can see I'll be using the boss's weaknesses on them to make mincemeat of them, if you will. And I'll also later show how Metal Man can be defeated in 2 hits of his own weapon, and I will show you how Woodman can be taken out by 2 fully charged atomic fires, since I didn't have that weapon when we fought him the first time. Like Cream Bubble Man once again. And here's Woodman! And Woodman I used the Metal Blades the first time on, but I'll show you how he can be defeated using the fully charged atomic fire. If you're playing on normal, this will take him out in 1 hit. But of course we are playing on difficult mode, so it will take him out in 2 hits right there. And then when we fight Metal Man, yeah, same thing, normal, he gets taken out with 1 hit of his weapon. And here we're fighting Quick Man again, and Flash Man's weapon is one of the many, well, not many, but, well, there are some yeah, like Centaur Man's and Bright Man's weapon all stop time, but it's one of the couple stopping time weapons in Mega Man, and it is probably the worst because you can't shoot while in this form, making it, well, kind of useful in Quick Man stage if you want to waste it doing the lasers, but Bright Man's weapon in Mega Man 4, when we get there, I'll show you how it's much more useful, since you can shoot while freezing time, making taking out Pharaoh Man extremely easy if you have Bright Man's weapon. And as you can see, we take out Metal Man in 2 hits of his own weapon. He is extremely pathetic. And finally back to Flash Man, the first boss we fought in the game. And with the Metal Blades, he is pretty easy, although you can use like the Crash Bomb as well, I believe. Same with Quick Man, you can use the Crash Bomb. But the next part, we'll finish off the final boss of Mega Man 2 in Part 4.